like you've never lived anywhere else besides in your home country, right? So that was the first time living somewhere else. That must have been pretty cool. Pretty
it
different.
was interesting experience. Different food, air, weather. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah,
Nice.
That's good stuff. We're going to get the teams out very shortly, but just quickly, these two teams, how do you rate them very quickly in terms of the way that they had their group stages?
Oh, man. I think I probably expected Vici to be a little bit more dominant, even though they already were super dominant, but TNC definitely came out swinging. But they also were a little bit back to their TNC style, where one game I would be like, oh my god, TNC looks like the best team in the tournament, and the next game they're almost losing 2-0 to Chaos. So stuff like that was still happening for TNC. Well, I think Vici, they still have shown their amazing caliber throughout the whole year, right? Like they've been extremely dominant with all of their players, and it's shown. It's still been shown.
You expect to see a bit more from Vici, though?
Yes, absolutely. I expected them to run a similar route to Team Secret, which is just kind of like dominate the groups, easily be first and everything. And they didn't do that. They seem to like kind of lose control. The same kind of happened with TNC, as Fogg was saying. Like, you know, I watched some of their games and I felt like, as you said, they're like, oh, this is a fantastic team. And other times I'm just like, this is a bit undisciplined. You're kind of throwing away some of your games, and that's concerning to me, right? Because I imagine the group stage going into playoffs, like the difference in the stress levels, it's got to be high.
Okay, time to introduce you to our two teams for our second series. TNC Predator into the Mercedes-Benz Arena for the first time on the main stage, and they find themselves in the upper bracket after a good, solid group stage performance from them, backed by a man who is a TI winner. That's right, their coach, no less, is a TI winner. If anyone can help them calm down and deliver, it is the man Heen. They've got the ability. We've known that for years, but now have they finally got the strategy? We're going to find out as they go head-to-head with a team who have been in imperious form throughout the season. It is Vici. 2017-18 was an unprecedented year for Vici Gaming. The team with the silver badge had 7 second places, but this year things have changed. The silver has changed to gold as they claim major championships. They come into TI as probably the best informed team in the world here on Chinese soil to have a shot at the Aegis. They are Vici Gaming and they go head to head with TNC. Gents, I feel like this is the perfect matchup in many ways for excitement. As Dendy's already said, it's that TNC, that kind of SEA, run-at-you, fast-paced kind of Dota, backed by a guy who's got TI winning credentials and strategy cap as well, against Vici, who've probably been the best team.
Oh, absolutely. I think Vici Gaming, they are my favorites for this tournament. Even after their group stage, I'm hoping that they solidify things a little bit more going into the playoffs. TNC, though, something special about that team, man. They always seem to make those underdog matches work for them. They always seem to perform best when they are the ones being doubted, or perhaps in this case, hated.
Yeah, I mean, Dendy, that's the point, isn't it? Whenever you looked at the lower brackets in other TIs and you saw TNC or Fnatic or Mercedes, you're like, oh no, I don't want to play them. They're horrible. I don't like playing those kind of teams in the lower because they're dangerous. Now they're in the upper bracket. Can they be as dangerous?
They are super dangerous. Actually, about C-Dota, I said it's active, but TNC, where they have one of the slowest games at the tournament, I think, by stats, which is weird for C-Dota, yes. But still, they're doing really well in upper bracket, and they were like top 4 on last major. They're doing an amazing job, and I'm sure we're a really strong contender here. I'm not For me, also, Vici is super strong team,
Yep.
but I see that, it's going to be pretty even game.
What's it like playing with a really good coach behind you? Because you've had some really good coaches in the past. They've got Heen behind them. He's been there. He's done it. He knows how to win a TI. That must be really good for him.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he added a lot of some experience and insights and stuff like this.
Calm them down a little bit.
Discipline.
Discipline. No, that's a good word. Yeah, very good word. I mean, it makes a difference though, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. I also like, people are always talking about TNC now and they're mentioning Heen a lot, but I really have to give a lot of credit to the two supports because I feel like they do get left behind in the dust a lot because they have these flashy players. They have Armel, they have Kuku, they have these young rising stars and everything like that. But AU, this guy, as soon as he joined this team, I feel like they completely switched. He's been such a mental player. He works so well around the map. Same thing with Tims. We saw that unbelievable performance from him during the group stages. So
fantastic.
You can never look over their supports as well as that. So
And his story is amazing, right? Like, I actually did not know because his birthday isn't online, but apparently he's 27. Like, easily one of the oldest players coming out of the Southeast Asian region. But add on to top of that, right? He approached TNC not to be a player, not to be their coach,
just to help
but to be their analyst.
Yeah.
And then they were like, this guy's good. Let's make him our coach. And then from there, they're like, let's make him our captain. Let's have him play on our team. And I think he's doing fantastic work. It's just another one of those stories,
There's
right?
still hope for you, Cap.
Absolutely. That's why I'm so fired up right now, because maybe I can go back, baby. But no, it's like, it reminded me of the Seb story, you know? From,
very similar.
washed up player, just a smart guy about Dota, but can't really click the buttons, and goes into the game and shows that he can actually bring his team to victories.
Let's turn our attention to Vici. I've said they're the best team of the year. This half of the season, if you like, if we're talking 18, 19, since January, they've been the best team.
There's like a lot of things to talk about with Vici, right? I think you could hear the roar from the crowd when Yang gets announced, of course. Like, you look around, people are wearing Yang hats and everything, too. He's super popular. Talked to a lot of the pro players, and some of them are saying, this guy might be the best player in the world at the moment, stuff like that. I also want to focus. I also do like to focus on supports, but DY is actually my most improved player of the entire year across any team.
Back to the start of the season.
He was, I mean, we used to,
it was
not like
horrible.
Like me and Trent would be watching, and he would die all the games.
Let's just be absolutely plainly honest about it, because I think we can be. He was horrible at the start of the season.
His 5 position went from pretty much being like one of the worst, if not the worst, to being like top 2 of 5 positions right now in the international. So he is definitely one of the most improved players for me.
What about it? Ori's improvement as well, right? Like,
pretty much being like one of the worst, if not the worst.
Just done tremendous things over the last year. For Ori, I would say it's more like a year and a half, 2 years. But that's like just a really impressive story, and it goes to show that maybe some of the mentality
to being
that Ori
like
and
top 2 of 5
have
positions
as
right now
kind
in
of
the international.
element
So
of the team, they bring something different, right? This is a team that I see yelling at each other nonstop, but they've never, for this season, they've stayed true to what their roster is, and they've had great performances. So maybe something about that works.
Yeah, and Dedi Paparazzi, he's been around for a long time now. He's such a great 1v1 player.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Huge player in China, obviously very popular here as well.
He can play mid, he can play carry.
Right.
He's a perfect teammate.
Yeah. And now he's got great teammates around him, though. Finally. He's in a team where he's not maybe... Like, Yang's taken a lot of popularity right here in China. Ori, obviously, very big out here. So now he's surrounded by great players.
You should give credit to everyone, because when I watch Vici games, I'm amazed every time. There's always a lot to learn about them. We move as a unit, we work as a unit, we do things together in perfect fashion. It's just an amazing team.
And they're less boring than they were. I want to be honest about this. They weren't my favourite team 12 months ago. They were a bit... I use the word methodical.
Paul doesn't like when people control the map.
No, it's not that at all. It's just, it's like, move in. Let's go in, guys. Oh, we've got a tower, back off. Oh, we've got one racks, back off. We've got the other racks, back off. Get a shrine. Like, come on, finish the game. And they were a bit... They were too methodical, right? But they seem to have... They've taken the best bits of that, added some aggression, added some fire, and now they're a great team to watch.
Wouldn't you want to be like that too if you made a mistake and you go back to the room and you're like, oh God, ROTK, what's he gonna do to me? Oh no! So come on, you gotta understand their discipline.
That's true. Yeah, if you got ROTK back there, I don't want to mess up at all.
Yeah, and to think about it, right? Maybe that's exactly because you now have players as opposed to last year where you just had Paparazzi and Ori. Now you've got like somebody like Yang who is just as willing to yell back. Right? And I think that kind of aggression that he has in his personality can translate through to the game.
What's that like, Dendy, playing in a team? Because I always imagine you're a passionate man, you're emotional, but have you had teammates that yell at you and you just feel like, shut up?
It depends. Always different teams. Yeah, but maybe if
But
I
do you
would
like
play
it,
with
though?
Rodike, or Rodike would be my coach, he would probably give me yelling lessons.
Yes.
And when I would yell at people all the time, you know?
And then we'd have angry Dendy.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't imagine that.
That's
I
not
can't
possible.
imagine. No, that's not
No,
possible.
it's very good
Is
when
it?
you're angry at enemies. Of course, it's.
Of course, yeah.
yeah.
But what about in team, though? How do you cope
What
if
about
someone's
team?
really loud in a team?
I think.
Is it okay?
You can be loud, but when you should still stay friendly and friends, you know, and no one should take it personal or anything like that. When it's okay. Yeah.
Has that happened to you, though? Have you been in a team where, like, someone's really loud and you just want them to not be loud anymore?
Well, we can go loud. Of course, it happened many times, but when we would be happy loud, you know?
Okay.
Scream something not so good, but in a happy way.
Okay.
Oh, I remember watching TI1. I remember watching Navi and just yelling at their opponents. That was actually that was like the first big like psychological play.
It was so much fun. We had like mirror right in front of us, and enemy right in front of us.
That's what I was thinking.
You guys got the kill, and you guys would all stand up, and then you would sit down real quick.
We would hit table, we would shake everything up.
Do you bang in the table because it vibrated in the other room?
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
If we do a kill, we hit table.
Denny and the boys were the first OG. They were the first chat wheelers.
Yeah.
Before it existed.
Yeah, before chat was even had. What do you spam now? What do you spam?
What do you spam now?
Yeah.
Резать.
I learned what it means now.
Cut, or slash.
Oh, okay.
It's when Sven coming up with big gun, you know, ultimated.
He taught me that one the other day.
Did he?
Yeah, we were spamming a couple of times. He's, do you know what that means? And I'm like, oh, well, now I do.
Perfect.
It's a good one.
You learn something every day in Dota.
You do.
As well as life. You learn in Dota as well. I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. Which way do you think this goes?
Vici Gaming.
Yeah?
I have no problem jumping into the spot. I think TNC is going to be a strong lower bracket team. I have them going a bit farther through that lower bracket, but Vici Gaming, for here, I think they're just too big of a beast. Again, the biggest problem for me is the fact that TNC, like some of the breaks that I saw, some of the mistakes that they made in the group stage, I'm concerned that's going to continue in the playoffs when things are just, there's even more pressure on them.
That's the problem, Dendy, isn't it? Inconsistency for TNC, because they were a bit up and down in the group stage. And when they look good, they look amazing.
In group stage, we actually took at least one game from every team except Mineski, which probably know them really well.
SEA.
Yeah.
SEA derbies, they always end up weird like
But for me, I don't know. Those are really, really close games. I expected it to be like 50-50, but the edge would be on Vici side just because they're crowd favorites, and obviously a lot of cheering will be.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in this room. Obviously, all Vici biased, I'm sure.
I'd have to also, though.
I'm going to ask it slightly different to you, Fog. What did TNC have to do in this series in order to overcome Vici?
I think the one thing is like if they have like a certain strategy that's hasn't really been revealed too much for themselves, that's probably one of the best ones, because I think the TNC is going to do a lot of homework. They have Heen. He's going to come back and he's going to be like, all right, let's bring out the book. Let's see what Vici's done throughout the whole year at each thing. So I think you have to bring something new to the table, because I do think the TNC some of the times they have been a little bit. It's weird calling TNC a little bit predictable, but with their drafts, you can understand what they're looking for and what they're trying to do. So I feel like they have to bring something extra to the table, at least in that essence, versus Heen.
Okay.
And when it comes to play inside the game, I think a lot of that is going to come around the Tims, which is where some of the slower elements that Denny was talking about, right? These 4 positions that they bring out, like the Earthshaker and Enigma, these like really big team fighters that can beat them, that can beat Vici Gaming in the late game. Like, he's going to have to come through clutch, because I think there's going to be a large chance of Vici Gaming take control at first 20.
Okay, so that's what they got. Dendy, agree, disagree?
Yeah, I kind of would
give
like
them a
to see
chance?
Teams Mirana. Yeah.
Tim's Mirana, yeah.
Okay.
Tim Shaker, Tim Spirit. Those are the 3 that I'm looking for.
I was going to actually talk about Mirana a little bit. It's quite a bit of support Mirana now.
Yeah,
last game
this hero actually have really high win rate at this tournament. Yeah, it's doing really well. It's randomly came here after last small meta patch, and here it is. We see a lot of Mirana, and it's very successful.
Yeah.
I think it's like the 4th most picked with like 60% win rate or something. Yeah. It's like crazy that any hero that could be that popular also hold that kind of win rate.
It's flexible, right? I think that's the biggest thing that I've seen. Is like when you open it, it's like you can still run it mid. You can still run it even like I didn't think I saw. I don't think I saw a carry one, but we saw mid and we saw 4 position at least picked up.
Yeah, and I think Moon is the whenever you see Moon playing, you're thinking, oh, well, Mirana might come out in this particular game because he's so good on it. So, yeah, it can be a bit of a flex pick, I guess. Vici, on the other hand, what have they got to be careful about in this game? What would they not do for TNC?
I think the biggest thing is making sure that they win their lanes against TNC. Making sure, for example, that if they do, if they sacrifice Cuckoo, really shut down Cuckoo's game, right? Especially if they give him like the Cuckoo Bat Rider that he's so good with. Like, make sure he doesn't actually have the game punish the fact that they're sacrificing a little bit and trying to secure their safe lane more. I've seen TNC do that a couple times, and somehow Cuckoo walks away. Like, he's half the time he's solo, but he still walks away like he's been dual laning the entire time. He walks away with that kind of farm. So make sure he doesn't have a good game.
Cuckoo's the one he's definitely the one I'm concerned about that I think Vici's going to address. Before, when I was saying, I messed up saying it before, I was saying that Heen was going to do homework. None of you guys corrected me. I was waiting for you guys to make fun of me, but I meant ROTK. It's okay.
It's fine. We've got your back, buddy.
I caught myself after I said it all, but yeah, I think that's the one that I'm worried about, is that Cuckoo, I think I've only really been seeing him play like his Sanking and his Bat Rider. Yeah. So yeah, he needs to find some more variety.
Couple more in there. Dendy, what do they have to be careful of?
I don't know. I think we should just play their own game and
not worry about TNC at all?
Not worry about anything but their own game. Just focus on what we want to do and keep going.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you very much, gents. That's it from our panel, but we need to bring in some experts. So let's head over to our expert panel for the draft.
Vici Gaming versus TNC Predator. Game 1.
I thought we were bringing in some experts, but Gunnar, I hear you got stomped in an in-house. What's going on here, man?
You know, Fogged, he tried his best and he ruined my game. Nothing you can do. I was also against a TI winner, Dendy.
True.
I'm not a TI winner.
But you two are playing in the same region now. Grant, this man exported himself out of North America. Did you disavow him?
I did not. Gun Daddy here. He's still cool. He's repping us over there, and I appreciate that. Especially, TNC on the line. We'll get the inside scoop now.
Yeah. You got the C region info.
A spy. Is that what you're saying?
Indeed.
Okay. Deep cover Gunner. I like it. We're here. It's the second series now of the main event. Already.
Quick.
And it was a fast first game as well. Virtus Pro just looked completely lost, and what a way for LGD to solidify the Chinese crowd behind them, getting a rapier. Now it's up to Vici Gaming to see if they can follow up a performance like that.
Yeah, and I think it should be a pretty good series. I'm surprised the panel actually took Vici Gaming right there, but like pretty convincingly. I thought TNC actually looked reasonably well in the group stage, and they talked about it on the panel, as see the draft, that it's these heroes, these team fighters, they have the longest games in some of the tournaments, and that's because these Earthshakers and Enigmas they're picking, like, they don't mind scaling into the late game with heroes like that, and I think we'll see a lot here.
Yeah, a lot of the team focuses around Tims, I think, in the early game to mid game. He picks these, like they said, Earthshaker and Earth Spirit.
Yeah.
He's always gets these, like, Blink Daggers and these big initiations, so I'm looking for TNC to draft some big hero for him.
Yeah, and I like the Chen ban. AU, he has been he's one of the few people keep challenging him. They're like, you know what? Let's give him the Chen, and then all of a sudden you gave him a Chen, maybe you give him an Alchemist, and you're like, oh, what have we done? So,
yeah, it spirals out of control quickly whenever you give these teams their comfort heroes, and also when you give teams heroes that have just been very irritating. Enchantress has been one of the most hated heroes in pubs. Yes. How do you kill this hero? But I guess maybe it's magic damage, Gunner?
Yeah, so Enchantress is really not good because she has a lot of healing in the early game with her Nature's Attendants.
Correct.
So when you pick an AA, you stop her healing. It's a lot of heroes like Juggernaut or Lifesteal with built-in magic immunity are really good at piercing through or untouchable. So maybe they pick something like Juggernaut here if they want to pick their carry early. That hero's kind of weaker, I think. Gyro's another hero that's good against her. His Rocket Barrage goes through untouchable in the early game.
Yep. Sand King, kind of the same thing. It's like all magic damage. You stun in, you Sandstorm, you cast an ultimate, you got to just blow her up right there. And I like two of the bans on the side of TNC. I was going to bring them up. It's Ogre as well as the Tide Hunter, and those heroes, just Vici Gaming, they will always take it. They're one of the few who's only really running it in the 3 position, and just get rid of it. That hero is such a nuisance.
Yeah, we saw the Tide Hunter bring LGD great success in Game 1. Clearly, it's a regional favorite, but we're seeing a lot of different stuff coming out. Magnus being picked up now by Vici Gaming.
A lot of the Chinese teams like Magnus more than the other regions. I think LGD picks it a lot for FY. They play a little slower than the other regions, I think, but they get the slowness helps them with the Empower. Their carry always is going to be top of the net worth. It gives them team fights in the mid and the late game. So I like it. It also lets them contest TNC. If Tim's goes a more greedy hero, like Earthshaker as a 4, then Magnus is also going to get a blink, and his carry is going to get farm. So
I'm curious, because don't they usually play Yang on the mag? They're one of the few teams who really likes playing it on the 3. And you have an Enchant, like, I'll be honest, I love both these heroes as a 3 way more than, like, say, Enchant as a 5 or the mag as a 4. But I'm curious, because Enchant, she's a lane stomper. You know what she's going to do. Meanwhile, Magnus is a little bit different. Maybe you get a skewer on the tower, but you're just trying to survive. So if they do play it as a 4, you know, here you go. You're the buff bot.
Trying to survive, and then, yeah, just trying to get levels. So what is going to be the pairing for this Magnus? You want to find someone to power. You want to make sure you enable your carry to accelerate very quickly, which is why Vici Gaming ban out the Alchemist. They want to make sure that no other carry can keep the pace of a hero that has Empower.
Yeah.
A nice thing about this Magnus pick and the Enchantress is that Enchantress can solo her lane really early on.
Okay.
And a lot of teams like to run Magnus in a tri-lane.
Assuming that it's going to be a
3 Enchantress and a 4 Magnus.
Which I hope it is.
Yeah, the Magnus can get early boots. He can skewer into tower with another stun from the 5. So a tri-lane with Magnus is a lot stronger than doing dual lanes, I think. So it's kind of a really nice combo that they already have.
Yeah. You're already scared, though, right? You have an Enchant and a Mag, and then you look on the other side. You just have this AoE burst damage. Like, just in 2 heroes is AA, so you definitely need someone survivable again. I mean, how do you feel about Jug this tournament?
Jug's been a really weak hero. They've nerfed, I think, really small the past couple, like 3-4 patches. They removed his early game agility. They removed 5 movement speed, I think. They removed 10 or 15 damage from each level of blade mail per second.
How are you going to talk bad about one of Hector's favorite carries? It's Wraith King and Juggernaut all day, every day, and he's been cleaning up on those 2 heroes.
It is, and I feel you do need, honestly, a hero like that, like Jug, obviously, with the spin, the magic immunity, and then Wraith King, right? You commit onto him, at least you have a full nother life. It's so hard to take a hero like that down, and maybe they will on Vici look to do a hero like that.
And they actually ban out their own Sven, which was a potential for Vici Gaming. Again, you're looking for combinations with this Magnus and power to speed up and accelerate the farm of a carry.
I could see a hero like Troll Warlord right now.
Okay.
For the side of Vici Gaming, it matches well with the Magnus, and as well, you don't die to the AA Blast.
Right. If you're in Battle Trance, you won't shatter.
Yeah, so it's a little like Shallow Grave. It gives you an extra, you know,
little bit of time.
Yeah.
You never know. Just survive, get a kill. I mean, we saw Arteezy rampage with just 1 extra second. Like, honestly, something like that against an AA is that important. And I'm really surprised they ban out those 2 heroes. It says to me is, you brought up Tsunami. Alk and Sven both are 2 of those heroes that do speed the game up quicker, and obviously they don't want that. You want this Mag, Empower, and do your own thing. Oh, a Tiny.
Tiny's been one of TNC Predator's favorite heroes of the group stage, and overall just a really solid hero that we've seen any team pick. It's just, I see an immense amount of magic burst damage. I would be terrified if I'm this Enchantress right now.
The Tiny Axe is really good against Ench in the mid game as well. You don't get attack speed slowed, a lot of physical. Ench does have low armor, but you can't hit her normally. But having the ability to do physical damage without having to hit her is really good, I think.
So if this was like a team secret draft on the side of TNC, I would have no idea which hero is playing well. We could see like mid AA, we could see 3-position Sand King. Based on TNC, which way are you leaning towards the AA, Sand King, and Tiny being played?
I think AA 5, Tiny 4, Sand King 3.
Okay.
They don't play mid Tiny, do they?
I don't believe they do. I mean, it was like Mineski, right? Moon's like the biggest one, but I don't think TNC really plays that much.
I know OG plays it. Thompson played mid Tiny, I think, once or twice in the group stage.
Do you know what they played it against? Sorry, I'm trying to think like if it's just like a matchup kind of thing, or
I think Thompson likes it here. I believe he's like gold rank too, so he plays it.
He's like, just give me it. I just want to burst. I want to set that record. I want to get a lot of kills. Yeah. And I was curious, what do you think about that DP last ban? Why do you ban a DP against a team who has mag? Like, does that say anything about what you're going to pick for middle?
It could kind of push the Tiny more towards mid, because since he has really high health, the DP can siphon him in the mid game and kind of control him, but I think it's more for the Lifestealer.
Okay.
DP matches really well against Lifestealer all stages of the game. Late game, at 25, you'll get a haste talent, so Lifestealer can never catch you. But even before that, the spirits go through rage. You can kind of kite the Lifestealer, you know, make a fight a little slower, get through rage, silence him, and kind of burst him.
And even beyond pushing Tiny towards or out of mid, you also need push on towers. Death Prophet would have been a great hero, because Vici Gaming kind of lacking in the ability to take structures right now, because TNC Predator have amazing wave clear. How are you going to ever make your way to a tower and actually start dealing damage to it?
And even just like the group up factor, right? Like if you look, cool, they have a mag, reverse polarity's fun, but then you have a Witch Doctor and Enchant. It's not like, yo, we're ready to just go and team fight you.
But they'll be able to heal, right? Oh,
They will.
wait.
Oh,
There's an ancient apparition on the other side. What are you going to do?
Why did they take that Witch Doctor? I'm thinking now. Obviously, they enjoy the hero, nice multi-stun. If they do like a tri-lane, Witch Doctor level 1 is pretty good.
True.
And there it is, the Jug. Okay. I think you had to do it versus the A, and you have the Empower, and you're going to be able to ramp up extremely quick.
Yeah, they banned the. I think Sven could have been a good pick if they didn't ban it.
Yeah.
It matches fairly well against the Lifestealer, and that's one of the few heroes right now that wants to go BKB early and is melee. A lot of the ones are like Gyrocopter goes BKB